gas prices on the rise, groceries getting more expensive, luxury items is hard to afford, the repair bill on the car, whoa, it is more expensive than it has ever been. All of these things shows that we are on the brink of an economical recession. I don't know if it's coming or we can manage to save it, but somehow the bubble is about to burst. But that is not necessarily a bad thing, at least when you talk Gym of Life. And before we dive into it, I just want to say hello to my fellow Gym of Life people and to all you new ones. This is not just workout, my name is Martin. This is a channel where we talk about everything Gym of Life related. So with the rise of price of living, well, we are seeing that we are on the brink of that economical recession, and a lot of economists are talking about it. But is it all that bad? Well, not necessarily. There are some things that might be beneficial, at least when we're talking Gym of Life and when we're talking lifestyle. And I do say this because, first of all, let's look at the gas prices. The gas prices are rising. People are looking into ways to spend less time using their car because, well, with the prices rising, it is going to get more expensive. You cannot afford the long trips. You might want to visit grandmother once in a while, and that might be a long trip. If that's a long trip, you want to save up to it, or you want to save on some other trips that you can. You might even say, oh, I will just skip visiting grandma this year. And that is not the point we want to get to. We want to get to the point where we can say, how can I save on energy cost without, well, saving on my lifestyle, with improvement of my lifestyle? And one of the things is that you can change the car to a bicycle. And this is here where e-bikes, they are really going to shine, because if you have a little bit longer to work, you might want an e-bike because you can then use it to get that much further, because e-bikes are the game changer when it comes to long distance travel on bikes. For example, I have spent several times on my e-bikes where I have biked 50 or 60 kilometers, something I would never do on a normal bike. But if you only have a short distance, why not save that money and buy a normal bike? For example, I have 2 to 3 kilometers to work. I don't have the exact distance, but it is around 2 or 3 kilometers. I can use a normal bike. I can even walk that distance. But if you have 10, 12 kilometers, I would say use an e-bike if you're not in that good shape and you don't want to get there all sweaty. But I'll cover that much more in details in my upcoming video on why e-bikes are a big game changer. For now, just know that this is a possibility to change out the car, at least on some trips, for a bike. And it's that change in mode of transportation that will improve your life. And this is because your brain releases chemicals, happiness chemicals up here, and you become more happy from that much more activity. And it is not just doing the activity you get those happiness hormones released. No, you actually get all this chemical release throughout the day. If you are in a better shape, you will get more release of those chemicals, as long as you don't become fanatic about it, because then you will not get any release unless you're doing the activity, and that's a bad thing. But if you're doing it as a Gym of Life thing, oh, I'm biking to work, I'm walking to work, something like that, alright, then you will get that chemical release. It's all about being practical about it. It's all about, hey, I can fit in some activity throughout my day to release those chemicals so I can feel more happy. There's also another benefit from it, because as you get older, you tend to get more sick. Believe me, I'm happy that I have rounded 35, because in Denmark now my doctor is taking me serious, because when I was below 35, it was, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. I don't want to see it. You're young, you're strong, you can do it. Now, when I come to the doctor, oh, we are just going to check that out. We just want to make sure that there's nothing there. But back to the matter. When you add more activity, you lower your chance of getting sick. So when you are forced to take the car less, you are then also forced to think another way. When you're forced to think another way, you will raise your health, because you will get more exercise without thinking about it. And it's all that counts. It's not thinking about the exercise you're getting. It's getting a lot of exercise without thinking about it. That is the Gym of Life lifestyle. Of course, you have to think about it when it starts up. But look at me, I've been practicing it for 10 years. No, I'm not big buff. I don't have that big muscles. But that does not mean I cannot lift. Believe me when I say my work requires a bit of strength. So I know that I have some strength. And I know I have some good core strength from walking, from biking, from being active. Oh, and I love to go out on these go high tracks, and I'm actually quite good at it, and it will also train my body without really thinking about it. It's like playing. It was also when my son was younger, when he was in the age that wanted to go to the playground. Now he's 13. He doesn't want to go to the playground. And when he was younger, we were at the playground. I played a lot with him on the playground because of two simple things. One, it strengthened the bond between father and son. Yay, I want a strong bond between me and my son. Second thing is that it actually gave me a bit of a workout, lifting him up on the high places, sitting him down, lifting him up, playing with him, turning, spinning around, all these kind of things, elevated the pulse. It's built up strength without really thinking about it, just having fun. And that's what Gym of Life is about, having fun as you get in better shape, having fun as you build up your strength. You don't have to be that big, buff, muscular guy or girl, unless you want to, of course. But if you don't want to go into the gym every day or don't want to do all that exercise, then change your life to fit around getting exercise without thinking about it. And back to the recession part, because when we are forced to think about it, then we will make the change. It's funny how when we can get away with it, we are lazy as fuck. But when there is no other option, we are forced to think about it. That is also why city design is so important. And that is why cities, when we have a recession, should be investing in public transport, bicycle infrastructure, pedestrian infrastructure, because people are forced to use these kind of things. And if it's great, once the recession is over, well, people will not go back to the car. Because if you have great infrastructure and you're using it, it is actually quite hard going back to the car. You are going to miss it. But if the infrastructure, once the recession starts to lift, is poor, people will buy cars because, hey, now I got the money for it and I don't have to walk besides a very busy congested road. Now I can be sitting out in the congested road and adding to the congestion. I hope you see my point that the recession will force us to think differently. And when we are forced to think differently, we might make the change we need to in order to get a better health. And one of the reasons I'm that much promoting about getting a better health, that is because, well, one of the biggest silent killers in the Western world is heart problems. And especially men are very bad at going to the doctors. So if we can't get them to go to the doctors, we might be able to get them to raise their health. So I hope all my fellow men out there and all you women out there will encourage your men to, well, adapt your life to be more active without having to think about it. So if you have a kid, go down to the playground. If you are living fairly close to your work, walk or bicycle. If you do not live close to your work, see if you can adapt your routines. For example, take the train into work. I know that in some American cities it is way too difficult. The recession might change that, because when the recession hits, the people's needs will change. And when enough people have a change in needs, politicians have to adapt. The problem with getting them to adapt is, well, there are big companies influencing the way we construct, and there are some zoning laws in the US or zoning rules that are way out there, because a mixed use development will benefit the average health, lower the cost for the healthcare system, and it might even help with the doctor and nurses shortage. So we have to change the way we think about building new houses. Even here in Denmark, we have seen for the last decade a change, because we got into the habit of building, like the Americans, many one-family homes out on a big area. That is about to change, because now we are investing more in apartment complexes. Of course you can still get a house, and of course there are still being built new houses, but there is actually a tendency for people wanting to move into apartments because, oh, you have the shops right around the corner, all these kind of things, and it is cheaper than buying a house. I know it's not the actual price of the place you live, but the overall price is cheaper when you live in an apartment. Something I will be going over in a later episode, why you should live in an apartment and not in a house if you want a better gym of life, and how it can benefit you economical. Besides that, I will be going much more into why mixed use development is so great for gym of life, but that's a whole other episode. For now, I just want to point your attention towards Copenhagen, because that's a de-stressful city, and I have the video right up here. And remember to like, subscribe, click that bell notification icon, and until we see each other next, keep raising your average health. Bye bye.